Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, good afternoon to all the professors, doctors, lecturers, colleagues, and beloved students. So I'm Dr. Awis bin Muhammad Sabri from IUM, Kuantan, Pahang. So on behalf of the Malaysian Society of Pharmaceutical Technology, I would like to welcome to all of you to the MSPT Coffee Talk Series 2021 for the August session. MSPT is a Malaysian-based society focused on sharing knowledge on pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences between researchers and the scientific community. All Malaysians are invited to be part of this society, and please contact us for further information. To get the latest updates on our programs, please follow our Facebook page and visit our website at www.mspt.usm.my. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed our privilege to have you with us today, and especially to our speaker, Dr. Chan Seo-yi. Okay, I will briefly introduce to you about Dr. Chan. So Dr. Chan is a fully registered pharmacist and a member of academic staff in the School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, USM. And Dr. Chan has accomplished several achievements in early of her career. In 2018, Dr. Chan was among the 6 young scientists that was selected to attend the 68th Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting. And in the same year, she was also handpicked by the Ministry of Higher Education for the CEO at Faculty program, a program intended to train future leaders for public university in Malaysia. And in recent years, Dr. Chan has been appointed in several leadership positions, which is including the editor-in-chief for Malaysian Journal of Pharmacy, and also as an ESCO member for the Young Scientist Network, ASM. And not to forget, she's also our president for the MSPT. In research, Dr. Chan has managed to secure institutional, national, industrial, and international grants. As a researcher, Dr. Chan is very dedicated to her research work. She is one of the senior lecturers who have no problem in getting her hand dirty in order to work together with her team. And we are lucky today because she's going to share her knowledge with us. And the title of her talk is the pharmaceutical application of electrospinning in formulation category for in formulation strategy for poorly soluble compounds. Okay, without further ado, I would like to welcome our speaker, Dr. Chan Seo-yi, and please enjoy this sharing session from our expert today. Okay, I will leave to you, Dr. Chan.
Thank you, Dr. Awis, for your kind introduction. So let me start my talk with sharing of my slide.
So can I change the next page? Write the day and the date now. And number 1, trace and write the example. Circle the correct answer and fill in the blanks. Example.
Can you see, Dr. Awis?
The car is free. Circle.
Yes, I can see it.
Right, thank you. So thank you very much. Today I would like to present about the pharmaceutical application of electrospinning in formulation strategy for poorly soluble compound. So before I start, let me bring the audience into perspective of the title of today. So for any development of any products, the process go in this direction of flow, where you have the raw material either in excipient, new chemical entity, or even active ingredient. Then depending on the properties of the products, and then it will go through the strategy, whether are we going to increase the absorptions, enhance the solubility by using formulation strategies such as complexation, salt formation, nanotechnology, using advanced materials, solid dispersion, liposome, and etc. Then it will go into the manufacturing, which is either spray drying, fish drying, electrospinning, tableting, capsuling if you have, and etc. before they go into the final dosage form for packaging, such as tablet capsule that you have seen on the shelf today. And looking back to our title, okay, So the formulation strategy is the strategy that I mentioned here about the complexation salt formations, such as what you can see in this column. While the polysoluble compound is actually a type of raw material which is used in the pharmaceutical area. Okay, so if you look into our title, electrospinning, it is simply a type of manufacturing method. Depending on how you are going to apply, it can be a combination between strategy and manufacturing methods. So there are some of the examples that has already been applied on formulation strategy. For example, Sporanox, Caletra, Prograph. Those are already in formulation strategy of solid dispersions. And doxorubicin liposome, they are using the liposomal strategy. And another is nimesulide, which is a complexation strategy that they have used. But the final dosage form, they looks the same, which is tablets, capsule, or even injections. So let us go back into the electrospinning. So the principle of an electrospinning, a basic set of electrospinning system consists of a voltage, a spinner rate, and also you need a grounded screen. Okay, in order to complete the whole circuit system, okay, the voltage is connected to your polymer solution that you would like to spin, as well as the other end are grounded collectors. And once the voltage is increased, the solution, polymer solution in the syringe will be charged. Okay, and because of the increase of this charge inside the polymer solution, the light charged particles or the light charged electron will be actually experiencing repulsions. Okay, and then it generate the spinner rate and lengthening electrospinning and being collected on the grounded collector. So what happened at this tip? Okay, when we look very microscopically, okay, when you increase the voltage, okay, this is what you have. The electron in this solution has started to be charged, and you will form something called a Taylor cone. Okay, a cone shape that is important to be formed in order to get a stable fibers. Okay, and afterwards it will draw because of the negative charge that are accumulated, so it will be repelled to each other, and they will go towards the positive. Okay, they go slightly toward the positive, and you increase further, it will go straight to the positive, hit the positive, and whatever going out, okay, going out from this jet, something like here are the example of the solvent that is evaporated out of sudden because of this lengthening of the electron spinning fiber. Okay, so you will have this appearance of all this solvent, which is evaporations. Okay, so this is example of electrospinning that you can see under the shine of light. Okay, just to share with you this. So you can see the fiber is actually straight draw into the collectors, and this is a very, very nice videos that you can visualize how's the fiber being formed. Right? Okay, so there are different type of electrospinning. The one that you see in the video just now was actually a type of vertical electrospinning where the solution is on top and the grounded screen is on the bottom, so that it can actually draw the charge to the collector at the bottom. But they are very much affected by this gravitational force. Okay, and on the vertical electrospinning, you can have even multiple needle in order to increase the efficiency of the production of things that you want to produce. There is also vertical electrospinning. Okay, that the needle sit vertically, and more recently there is something called buff electrospinning, meaning that you have needleless electrospinning. There is no needle. Okay, and this metal here, okay, is actually in touch with the polymer solution at the bottom. Okay, and after they turn up near to the screen collector, okay, the thin layer of this polymer solution will be drawn like a fiber Can you see here the fiber maps and collected onto this drum collector? Okay, this is needleless electrospinning. Okay, and besides electrospinning, you may also heard about something called electrospraying. However, they are using the similar principle of electrospinning. The only difference is you are using the polymer solution, okay, the polymer to be less entangled to each other, and the solution of high surface tension. So you will get a particles instead of getting a fiber. So those are this possibility that you can even generate particles on top of having the fiber mat or film. Okay, so what are the concern and consideration when you use an electrospinning system? Okay, there are three main parameters of concerns, which is the ambient parameters, the process parameter, as well as the solution parameters. Okay, I put the ambient parameter as the top one because this is the one that usually most of the researchers do not change or alter in order to study the different parameters. For example, you have your condition in this 60 over something, you will just fix into around 55 and you will start to run your system. Okay, temperature, usually they are using a room temperature, but you can change, of course, according to your needs. Okay, and process parameter, of course, depending on the three setting that you have, is the spinner rate, the voltage, and also the collector. When you look at these three systems, of course, when you have higher voltage, you are increasing the charge, right? When you're increasing the charge, the repulsion between the electron is higher. Okay, so of course you will actually suspect whether you can get a thinner fiber, and the distance. Let's say if the distance is longer, do you get a thinner fiber because they travel longer? The evaporation happen in a longer time, a longer journey. Okay, and the solution parameter like viscosity, conductivity, surface tension, and volatility of the solvent that you use. Okay, I have experience in using acetone, ethanol, and water. Okay, all of them have a different volatility. Of course, if you have organic solvent, the volatility is higher. You will get a, when you are getting closer, you will get a dry film easily. Of course, for water, you may need to reduce the flow rate in order for the complete drying of water. So let's move to the voltage. So, when you increase the voltage, you can see there are different mode of jet that you can actually form. Okay, these are some are the lower one. Are the things that you may want to have is around this one. Okay, cone jet is the most optimum one. Let's say if you want to have the multi jet mode, but you can actually increase the voltage, but you couldn't actually determine whether or not they will turn into this ramified jet mode. Okay, and when you increase your voltage, you may have seen all this, and you may want to consider about reducing the voltage. Okay, and there is something called TCD, which is tip collector distance. Okay, what is tip collector distance? Is the distance between the tip of this needle and the collectors. Okay, study ensures that if you have the distance, higher distance, you will actually produce a longer and a thinner fibers. Okay, and about flow rate. Okay, if this is a 0.5 ml per hour, this is 0.1 ml per hour. 0.1 ml per hour is actually a lower flow rate, and you can see it produce a thinner fiber. However, the fiber is not uniform. Okay, and it has something, some spinneret fiber like this, which shows instability of the fiber produced. Okay, and further from here, I would like to share my journey of using the electrospinning. And in the very beginning of phase, most of the experience that we feel, okay, is somehow failure. Okay, my first electrospinning experience happened in University of East Anglia in Norwich. When I was in UK, I start with PVA and everything was fine. Okay, when I moved into University College of London as a visiting researcher, then I start the electrospinning of Zen. Okay, And electrospinning of zinc have gave us a lot of, train us a lot of patience, because every time after we start the electrospinning system, we are hope to get a very nice fiber mat, and then we go for a coffee. When we come back, this is what we see, a clog at the end of the needle. Then we start all over again, and this is always happening. And the work has been, of course, initiated by a postdoc, which is Professor Wang, and she was the one that working on the electrospinning of zinc. And because I myself and herself is working on electrospinning set up in the very beginning of that research group, so we worked together and we found, okay, changing the solvent from acetic acid to ethanol can result in 70 increase in the alpha to beta ratio of the zinc, because zinc is a type of SIP protein, okay, and this protein, they are composed of alpha, beta, gamma in terms of the solubility homology sequence. And additional of any poorly spin substance, for example, they add some PEG, they add some plasticizer, okay, causing beaded architecture of this fiber. Okay, you can find their work in these publications. That was my very, very first experience of electrospinning. Moving on, I come back in USM. I joined Professor Emeritus Yuan in electrospinning and electrospraying in the production and application of nanofiber and microparticles. Okay, and in this work was actually initiated by Prof. Yuan, but it was a PhD work of Dr. Fong. And Dr. Fong has actually tried to electrospin the PVA polymer, the very, very basic polymer that people start to use for electrospinning. And when you look at the difference in the composition of this electrospinning, the tip to collector distance increase. You can see this one is the 10 cm for the tip to collector distance. And this fiber is somehow fused together. Okay, when you increase bigger to 15 cm, the fiber being stretched. Okay, and when the voltage increase from 10 kV to 15 kV, you can see even though the voltage has increased and it produced a thinner fiber, but this thinner fiber doesn't seem to be consistent or homogeneous. Okay, you can see there is some portion that is thick, then some portion that is thin. And you may have concerns about, drug release if you are formulating that for the drug release purposes. And about the viscosity increasing, when they increase the 5% of PVA into 8% of PVA, and you can start to see the fiber form a slightly better and more homogeneous fiber mat in the collector. Okay, and Dr. Fong has also started to work on, polymer of low viscosity. And this polymer of low viscosity is microcrystalline cellulose and also HPMC. And this is, we hope to get actually the particles. And the particles that we produce with 15 kV and 15 cm is fused together once again. Meaning that the distance is not far enough, okay? And also it is kind of wet. Okay, when you increase the voltage and increase the distance, the particles is visible vividly. Okay. And under Dr. Fong PhD, she has also incorporated Lactobacillus acidophilus, which is a type of probiotic, into this nanofiber using electrospinning setup. And she studied about the viability of this probiotic under the fluorescent light. So there is a possibility to actually incorporate this probiotic into the nanofiber. And the beaded ones was actually this forest bacteria. Okay, and myself, I start with my buccal delivery of a very poorly soluble drug, which is atifacons, together with my FYP, Miss Teo and Miss Yo, both very dedicated researcher. And they designed and developed atovacon loaded electrospun fiber in hoping to be for buccal delivery, meaning that to put either under the tongue or anywhere in the oral mucosa of this oral cavity to increase the atovecon absorptions. And that can actually facilitate, some country that if they are having a poor water sanitation. And the idea of having this oral dispersible, once they put into the oral with the very minute amount of your saliva, it can dissolve and absorb. Okay, that is the idea of Mistio and Mistio work. Okay, and Mistio has a formulation of PVP atovecon. Okay, when you look at the pure drug itself, the pure drug has a very low drug release. Okay, after we have incorporated them into PVP together with electrospinning, this is what we find. The increment happen. Okay, the increment happen. But you may see there is an initial parachute of this drug release due to the supersaturation of electrospinning. If you remember that I said electrospinning can be used as a manufacturing method, it can also be used as a formulation strategy, because after we have electrospun them, okay, the whole system of atovecon initially crystalline, turn into amorphous, and these amorphous believed to be in the supersaturation condition. That's why when you try to put them into dissolution or solubility, they will have this parachuting of the drug release. And when we look under this polarized light microscope, and we use a blend of different polymer, which is PVP plus PVPA, and when you look at here, you see the bifringent, the shining of this drug, meaning that they are in the crystalline form. And all those after electrospinning, the bifringent has disappeared. Okay. And when we look into under the SEM, okay, this is the pure compound of this atovecon. Okay. When we use PVPA, we generate a particles very much look like the particles that being spray dried, okay? And simply because of the surface tensions of the PVPA, and also this is a very low viscosity polymer. That's why it can be able to generate particles. And when we add a PVP K90 polymer with a low, with a high viscosity, then we start to get a fiber, okay? And when you look into their dissolution profile, this is what we have. Let me draw you to this atovecon to the pure K90, which is a very high viscosity polymer under electrospinning condition. Yes, again, supersaturation occur, but parachuting of the drug release also been observed, meaning that recrystallization of this highly crystallized compound happening here. And when we added VA, which is the lower viscosity polymer, the ratio in 1:1 is the one that is seen to be best, okay, in sustaining the release. Okay, and this work has been recognized, humbly recognized as the National Pharmacy Research Competition as gold medal by Mistio, and she also was given first winner in this KPJ Healthcare Conference and also Asian Young Pharmacy Group Summits in 2019. For each of the presentation, of course, we have addition of data being added. Okay. And in this research group, we have also collaborated with our, with Dr. Go, together with his main supervised student, Mr. Abdul Salam, electrospinning of nanocellular crystalline compound in the suspension form. So you see, this is the example of using the suspension form, and the needle gauge is the critical factor for this type of materials. Okay, because this is a suspension. If the needle gauge is very small, and the suspension can easily again stuck inside, and there is no way to actually spin the whole map. Okay, and viscosity remain the cornerstone of the formation of this sustained electrospinning. Okay, and the film strength has seemed to be higher with incorporation of this NCC. Okay, this is the researcher who has worked on this work. When you see NCC is added as the carrier, this is this viscosity, okay, viscosity of PVA and PVA NCC, okay, and the film strength after they form the film, okay, the strength of the PVA is this amount, and the strength has been doubled up or more when NCC has been incorporated as also the base for this of this system. Okay, and we have also measured the conductivity. The conductivity is slightly better. Okay, but very interestingly, for this particular system, the aims is actually for control release system. Okay, that is the aim. Okay, and what we found was actually in line with the aim, whereby the drugs, okay, released at this point of time after incorporation of NCC using electrospinning, the drug release reduced more than half, and it sustained the release for days. Okay, and we have also collaborated with the International Medical University on some other new chemical entity, which is a shift-based complex and nitroaromatics derivative for anti-cancer purposes. And this is two topics projects that I'm working on with IMU. And the DSC of the electrospinning shift-based complex, you can see here, they change from the crystalline physical state into the amorphous one. From there, of course, we will expect the dissolution or solubility will be much better. Okay, and we check with this X-ray deflection method, and it is really verified that it is turned into amorphous physical state. And when we check the dissolution enhanced very dramatically for this complex and also nitroaromatics. Okay, and we have also attempted to do electrospinning of emulsion. So just now we have the suspension, we have the drugs, now we have the emulsion. This is a work of collaboration between University of East Anglia, Jordan and Chiang Mai University, and also the country from Brazil. And this is a child malnutrition project that we aim to develop oral dispersible film, okay, for children supplement using the local resources, which is red palm oil as the source of vitamin A. And the researcher who worked on this is 2FYP. This is Mr. Kong, one of our researcher who has been very dedicated in working on this. And this work has been embarked since last year. And researcher was very dedicated because they come in after our first MCO lifted. And during the first month, day and night, they are working on investigating what is the best for the electrospinning of emulsion. Of course, when we talk about emulsion, the first thing come into mind is the stability. Okay, whether or not the emulsion was separate during the electrospinning process. So they have studied a wide range of emulsion stabilities of solutions, and they found viscosity and solution property remain the cornerstone for this electrospinning. Okay, and one more parameter that we are looking at is appealability, whether or not after we have electrospin, whether this film is peelable from this aluminum foil. Okay, if they are not, it is unacceptable for final formulation. It is hygroscopy, and additional of plasticizer increase elasticity. However, it stopped the disintegration because we hope to actually instantly dissolve in the oral cavity. So in this case, yes, this is the introduction of how we will feel we fail in this experiment in the very, very beginning phase of our research. And also some of this film, we have looked under the polarized light microscope, and some of them under naked eye, you couldn't see much of the water droplet that actually hit on this collector. But when you see under the polarized microscope, you will see this very clearly, that there are some kind of water droplet, okay, on the collector screen, which has caused recrystallizations. And to actually avoid the stability problem, we did also try coaxial accessory. Coaxial accessory meaning that the electrospinning, okay, of the needle that is having the out layer and the core layer, and two layer is being separated from different needle strings, okay. And this is what we have. Pretty much it is quite a good product from the coaxial accessory, okay. And this is what we have in our spinning solution, which is we have emulsion together with this polymer solution. Okay, when we increase the polymer solution from 8% to 15%, of course, average viscosity has increased, but you can see the fiber mat morphology is much better as compared to this one, which is a bit loose. Okay, and when we increase from PVA 4% to 8%, once again, the fiber mat look much better as compared to the 4%. Okay, a very sad but interesting observation that we have found during the course of this development of electrospinning emulsion is the three light structure that we see when the polymer of this polyethylene oxide and oil in water emulsion was spun. Okay, and this spinning was actually happened more than 2 hours. Okay, in the beginning of the first hours, you can see this electrospinning fiber mat was nicely attached on the aluminum foil. Okay, and when it happens more than 2 hours, this thing happens with like it's something like the tree growing. My student call me, doctor, there's a tree growing on top of this aluminum foil. This is what to me, this is interesting. To them, and this is a sad day for them to go back with that kind of results. And when we look into this, and if you recall from what I said about the voltage just now, when you increase the voltage, you can actually have the ramified mode of jet, okay? And plus together, this is an emulsion solution. When we start to give this, voltage, okay, molecularly, there is vibration between the molecule inside the syringe in order to actually travel the electron in order to travel to the collectors. So that can increase the instability of the emulsion, even though they have already studied about the stability on the shelf itself. But during the electrospinning process, the emulsion was agitated, and that potential separation has occurred. Okay, and this may cause the instability of the jet that cause what we see, the tree light structure, or we should say this is a ramified jet formation on the electro collector screen. Okay, this is more that you can see. It really seems like there is a growing of tree inside the electrospinning chamber. Okay. Right. However, the their hard work paid off. They has actually participate and submit their works to International Scientific Virtual Conference ISVC organized by YSN. And also we have a eureka moment in our second visit to the lab after the second MCO lifted. And we produce oral dispersible film. Okay, and this is the film that we have, and we will just trying to put into the water to show that it can be instantly dissolvable. Okay, and under the microscope, this is what we see. It has a very consistent and uniform fiber. Okay, and if you look back into this fiber, can you see the beaded here? There's all this beaded. When you look under this SEM, the beaded is actually the oil encapsulated within the nanofiber, which is very interesting. And the diameter of the film of this fiber that obtained is around 500 to 600 nanometers. Okay, and because this is the work of two FYP, the other FYP also submitted his work to this conference, and he has also shown the disintegration time. Wettability time and how they are being wetted in the petri dish with wetted filter paper. And it takes only about 4 to 5 seconds for wettability to happen. Okay. And the potential products of this will be converted into this form for upscaling. Okay. And current in the electrospinning, there is a patented products already available in the markets, but most of them are actually face masks. Okay. And some is a surgical implant or even wound dressing. For pharmaceutical products, there is only 2 recorded, but the other one couldn't find in terms of the final form. Okay, Rivelin patch is the ones that designed for the ulcer in the mouth, and when you put this patch, it should deliver the drug directly, locally to the mouth ulcer. Okay, and in conclusion, so electrospinning can apply to different strategy. You can spin suspension, solution, probiotic, emulsion, even new chemical entity that we have already collaborated with IMU. And you can apply to different final dosage form, either patch, okay, film, or even powder, because you can use the one polymer solution with the high surface tension and spin them into the powder form. And product with high surface to volume ratio because of the fiber mat, okay? And depending on the solution composition, you can actually tune the porosity of the final products that you want into variety, size, and shape. And it is easy to control to achieve the desired functionality. Moving forward, we are asking our local supplier, okay, we have a local supplier to actually work together with pharmaceutical industry in the setting of GMP to put this together so that we can manufacture the formulation that we have developed for the children malnutrition project. And the current collaborators are the one nationally, internationally. Just briefly go through who is our current collaborators. Nationally, we have, of course, the person who are from IMU. This is the 2 students who are working with us. And local industrial, Power Life. Progene Link, which is the supplier for electrospinning. Of course, because of the red palm oil, we also collaborated with MPOV, the IMU, and University of Cyberjaya because of we are trying to actually stabilize some of the natural products with this university. Internationally, we have Dr. Shang from UEA. We have my best friend from Chiang Mai University, another best friend from University of Baghdad, and from Jordan. Okay, and I would like to thank my inspirational who motivate me in taking up electrospinning. Of course, my main supervisor, when I come back, it was a Profian support in electrospinning. And of course, the School of Pharmaceutical Sciences Management Group, who has give the endless support on administrative, financial, and even motivation. Okay, and last, of course, but not least, the most important person are my lab mates who has accompanied me from nothing to at least something in the current lab that we have. So thank you very much. And this is what we have now.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chan, for a very interesting talk just now. And I believe that a lot of people have, there is going to be a few questions coming before, but the first question is coming from myself. I think you've done a lot of study using a lot of different type of material. So based on your own experience, what kind of the material that is easier, quote unquote, easier for you to electrospin it, and then what kind of material that is you find it is so difficult for you to electrospin it?
Of course, the easiest one is the one that usually this electrospinning company, they have always suggested, which is the PVA, polyvinyl alcohol. Okay, that is the easiest one, and also less hygroscopic. And the person who has actually worked on this, the electrospinning of suspension, Mr. Salam, has also experienced the same, which everything was good with PVA. When I work with PVPA 90, which is the one that hydrophilic polymer, it is also very easy to spin. But when we try to peel off, it is very difficult because of the hygroscopicity. And once it is sit on the deposit on the collector screen, it will easily capture this moisture from the environment. And this is where the problems comes, that we cannot peel this polymer solution. That's why we need to have some other excipients in order to tune down the hygroscopicity. So those are the two that I work in the big scale. But however, for my emulsion electrospinning, we did use some others like polyethylene oxide and also gelatin. So far, gelatin was also very, very easy to spin. If you want to feel better with electrospinning, you of course go for gelatin PVA, which is you will feel better, not easily give up. Because I start with PVP, which is, you know, why did I say the journey is a failure? Because I face a lot of downside of it. But I believe that is because that I can learn from those mistakes that I've made. Yeah. I cannot hear you, Awis.
Oh, sorry, I just myself. Okay. We have one question coming from Lee Chim Wong. Hi, Dr. Chan. Thanks for your great sharing. May I know how the uniform or non-uniform fiber form impact the delivery of the drug?
Okay. Hi, Wong. Yes. Whether you got a uniform or non-uniform, because depending on how the drug is being released from your system. Let's say your drug released from your system in the form of diffusion, okay? Means they need to move from inside to the outer layer. If you don't have an uniform fiber, of course, you will suspect there is a portion that released first and there is a portion that released later. Unless you can actually fabricate the non-uniform fiber into the portion. Let's say you have 30% of very thin one and another 70% of very thick one, so that they can release later. Then you can form a very two-phase kind of release system. Otherwise, you will have an unexpected release profile. Yeah, that's my answer to this.
Okay. Next question is coming from Dr. Taiga. So, can Doctor explain the costing and scalability of electrospinning as compared to other techniques such as freeze drying and spray drying? Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Right. Okay. In terms of scalability, there are quite a number of examples that electrospinning can be scalable to pilot plant. Okay, but about the costing, is depending if you are taking from this provider, and we have the local provider, which is very much very good, that we can utilize the local providers and get attached with the local pharmaceutical GMP labs, so that then it will be scalable. And the costing, yeah, believe me, I don't think the cost is very high. Of course, for any GMP that will be high, but for non-GMP, of course, the electrospinning itself is very scalable. But the thing is, for you to be able to produce this electrospinning in pilot plant, you would like to look at the efficiency and the cost effectiveness of this manufacturing method. Then you may want to look into the needleless and also this multiple needle electrospinning setting. Of course, the one that in my lab, yes, very, very affordable if you want to have one in your lab. To be scalable to GMP lab, that is what I'm working on with local industry together with this provider of electrospinning.
Okay, this question actually is coming from me. It just addition of from the Dr. Tiger's question just now. So if I'm not mistaken, now do we have like the GMP plant that have this technology? I mean, they produce a drug using the electrospinning.
Okay, if you are talking about locally in Malaysia, as far as I know, Okay, there is one pilot scale electrospinning, okay, in Butterworth, I think Butterworth or somewhere near Penang, okay, but it is not GMP. Okay, meaning that it's not for pharmaceutical application, but it's for medical devices, which I think they have their own other kind of requirement because of, I think that is one of the example that we have locally. But for pharmaceutical industry locally, we have yet to have any, or I am ignorant to if they have one, but what do you say? I was thinking it is very possible because of the versatility of this this machine. I hope I can really move this forward.
Okay. Okay, so the next question is coming from Nur Najiha. Such as interesting topic, Dr. Chan. I have a question. By employing electrospinning, what is the measures that we need to consider for the thermal sensitive materials?
Naziha, this is a very, very good question. Okay, as you know, the whole electrospinning process, it doesn't involve any increase of temperature. So theoretically speaking, it is thermal sensitive material can actually be manufactured by using electrospinning. Okay, however, there is very limited, very limited publication talking about this, or simply because they don't find these problems. Because I work on a few thermal sensitive material, Actovacon is one of them. Our initial idea to this was actually using peptide, okay, to be formulated in electrospinning, and to preserve to preserve any to avoid any involvement of temperature in the manufacturing for the formulation strategy. So for thermal sensitive material, I would say yes, you can use thermal sensitive material in electrospinning. However, if a molecular mobility or any agitation or vibration of this system, okay, that causing the degradation, that I couldn't guarantee, because when you start to polarize the polymer solution, this is where molecularly the polymer solution will be rearranged. Okay, so when they're rearranging, so there is a possibility the mobility of this structure or this thermal sensitive material also being subjected to any possible degradation. But that is a good topics to actually compare between specifically to thermal sensitive material. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, I always use electrospinning to replace anything that I'm afraid that they will degrade in a high temperature.
Okay. So the next question coming from Jojuan Lee. Sorry if I pronounce it wrongly. So hi, Dr. Chan. Thank you for the very interesting sharing. I learned a lot. I'm wondering what are the loading efficiency like for electrospinning in general? Were there challenges to incorporate high drop or high oil to the product? Thanks in advance.
Thank you. Loading efficiency is like how much the drug that you can load. Well, this is a very good question, because as you can see, you will need to use a very high viscosity polymer. And when you use a high viscosity polymer in order to produce a very stable jet, and the loading of the drug will be then compromised, because you need to maintain the drugs into a very small quantity in order to keep the polymer, the high molecular weight polymer, in the jet for the formation of the uniform fiber. So yes, loading efficiency may be one of the setback for electrospinning. That is a yes. Okay. However, it will be good, okay, for any potent material that you will need very, very small amount. Okay. And also, besides the loading, what else she was asking? High oil, right? Yeah, emulsion, high oil. So the high oil, you can, as long as your emulsion is stable, okay, and you can actually load them into this polymer, and you spin. And actually the same thing happens to high oil and high drug. Is you need to have really a continuous jet that is the high proportion of polymer that you need to have, and also that polymer need to be conductive as fast as much as possible in order to travel through this electrospinning and complete the whole circuit of electrospinning. Otherwise, it won't be stable. And yes, that is something that I think we need to look into. How are we going to increase the loading efficiency? And one of the method that I have just explained just now was the Coaxial, the one that you can put in the middle and the one that you can put in the outer layer. That is the best that you can so far encapsulate and increase the efficiency. But however, what is the efficiency in numbering, I still couldn't tell, because I think we need to research on that.
I think that one actually depend on the formulation as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next question is coming from Ain Najah. Thank you, Dr. Chan, for an insightful sharing. I have a question on the Coaxial nanofiber formation. What's your comment if we employ a coating technique such as a spinning coating or dipping instead of using a Coaxial accessories?
So the question, if we employ a coating technique, spitting coating, instead of using Coaxial accessory.
Coaxial.
Okay, so meaning that the researcher would like to use spin coating to coat instead of using this Coaxial. Yeah. Of course, go ahead with spin coating or even the dipping method. But that method, you may need to have visible size that you need to spin coat. That, and also dipping, that you need to be able to hold on and dip for this coating process. But for electrospinning, you can easily generate the particle that you have the core together with the coating in a very, very minor small size. Okay, so those are the advantage of electrospinning. But if for the purpose of your usage that you use a simple spin coating to coat your tablets, why not? Yes, you can go ahead with that. And of course, for dipping, yes, the same thing you can actually employ. Yeah.
Okay. Next question coming from Dr. Atika Mota. Hi, Dr. Chan. Thanks for the nice sharing. Is there any optimum range for the diameter of the nanofiber? Would different diameter affect the fabrication or release of the drugs?
Yes, definitely. Different diameter will affect the fabrication and release of the drugs. Optimum range. There is actually no optimum range for this, but depending of your needle size that you actually use, you can use a very, very small needle size that you may possibly generate very, very thin nanofiber, or you can use a very big needle size that you will potentially generate a very thick nanofiber. But the release can also be affected by the material you use, as well as the diameter of your electrospinning. And in electrospinning, you will always need to optimize. That is, yes, you will always need to optimize and study about the processing parameter. Otherwise, you wouldn't achieve, like you have a standard, okay, I'm going to use 20 kilovolt and this distance to for sure having your good formulation. You need to optimize here and there in order to achieve the best formula that you can. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chan. I think that's all the question that we have now. And thanks everyone for joining us in this talk. So I hope that you found this talk is as informative and useful. And then thanks you for spending time with us today. So hopefully you can join us on our next coffee talk. So till we meet again in our next monthly session, it's probably going to be in September. And have a nice day, everyone. Thank you. See you again.
Thank you.